Tempering a knife made of fence post steel. William Hovey Smith, 2017. I am the owner of a new company, Hovey's Knives of China, and sometimes we take found steels and make knives from them.
This is Hovey Smith with Hovey's Knives of China, and we are about halfway through making one of our Billy Joe Rubidoux knives out of this piece of steel, or at least the other half of it.
This is the old chimney and pioneer and maybe even slave cabin that the material came from, and here it is as found in the ground.
And here's what we have right now. Now this knife has been put on the forge, and this steel pounded somewhat flat. And we are now grinding into shape. And as you see, we have something here that one could reasonably say was a knife blank. Not a knife you've ever seen before, but yeah, recognizable as a knife blank. And to complete the knife, what we're going to do is put pins in it. Now, this fence post had holes. I'm not going to further weaken the knife by drilling additional holes. So what we're going to do is we're going to use these rather large bolts for pins. And I also want this particular knife, like this paring knife, to sit on the table like this. So we will need a very heavy handle material, and we have same. This happens to be a tropical rosewood. So this is what we're going to use for handle material, which is pretty dense, and with these steel bolts should hopefully counterbalance this now much thinned blade. Now from here, just by grinding, we have removed, I would say something like 12% of the steel. From here, from that section at least, to make this blade. On the raw work, here's what you see here. This is what came off of it before. This is how thick it was. So as you can see, yeah, we've cut down some material here. And now we're going to go to a finer belt to take some of these rough scratches out prior to heat treating. After heat treating, we'll do further work on this edge. It is too soft right now to successfully grind. We're going to put our blade in the furnace now. I have polished it a little bit with a finer grit of sand just to get some of the coarser polishing marks off it. But now the oven is up to 1320 degrees. Now we're going to bake this for at 1850 for about 30 minutes. And then we're going to quench it in oil. If this was stainless steel, I would wrap it in foil, but I think I'm going to let this oxidize so it'll get the natural color. Although some of that is going to be ground off when we do the final polishing. But we'll go ahead and stick it in here and let it slowly come up to heat. You turn off the furnace because you can electrocute yourself if you should happen to touch the coils while they're alive. Alright, turn it back on, and it'll come back up to temperature. We have now completed our heat treatment and have our hot oil quench ready, so we shall withdraw as quickly as possible. Hook it on.
I'm kidding here. Yeah, the steel really did not dissolve in that oil. Steel just doesn't do that.
Well, here we go. safely recovered and reasonably straight. So it looks like we did good. The heat treatment has changed the characteristics of the blade. You'll notice this line right here. Another one here. These may be cracks. They could be only superficial, but they could go into the steel sufficiently enough to ruin the blade. Another thing that's happened, you notice this line right here. This grind line was straight. The steel is actually shrunk a little bit, both in thickness this way and in thickness this way due to the heat treatment. The amount of scale, the amount of oxidation could have been decreased had I put a wrap on it, and perhaps on second thought I should have, but I didn't. So we got what we got, and we're going to put it back on the belt sander and see how deep those cracks go and see if we can salvage this blade. The blade is grinding dead soft. It did not take the temper. The crack is not serious. It didn't go, it's not deep in the steel, it's just a minor surface thing. So that I think I can work with. So we're going to put it back in the furnace, heat it again, 1850 degrees this time, not hold it for quite so long because we're getting pretty thin now, and do an oil quench. Well, we're ready to try it again. It's in there for 15 minutes. It's actually out to 1850 now, so that's the proper temperature. So it'll be hotter steel. We'll see if we can get it out faster and quench it faster. How we do here? Certainly looking good. Come on. Get in there. In there. The steel came through okay, but did not temper. So this time we're going to try a water quench. We're to the 15-minute mark now and have heat. And so we'll now try a water quench and see if that will do it to it. All ready here. Get out as quick as I can. Come on. Come. Come on. Ah. I believe we did some good there. Our knife making project from this material was a catastrophic failure. Woo! Yeah. We found that we had to water quench this steel to get it to harden. It would not harden in oil, although we tried twice. Now it is possible with steel like this to get an edge on it so that it will cut. But the edge won't last very long. And this has some carbon content to it, but it's also very brittle. As you saw, the blade, when it came out of the oven and I dropped it, had a very pronounced bend, and I just took it and tweaked it with the fingers a little bit, and it went snap, bloop, and this is the result. The blade like this still might be usable. What you would have to do is to anneal it now. Heat it to, say, about 500 degrees and then let it slowly cool and soften a little bit. And that will add a little degree of flexibility to it. Then you could drill it, and the point is a little bit bent, and straighten the point and have a sharpness that is about like this, but could not significantly be improved. So what of this material? Well, not too useful for the knife making arts, as it turns out, although we did give it a good try. Could I do it again? Yeah, I could. What I would do with this is put it in the furnace and shock it, and that'll break all the scale off of it, get me down to bare metal again, and start grinding and reducing and get back to the level I was before. Would it result in a significantly good blade? Unfortunately, from all present results, no, it wouldn't. Yeah, you would get something that would cut, and you could get something you could make a knife out of. It would just never stay very sharp. We have completed our work with our fence post steel here to see what we could do with it. And after 2 days, the final answer is almost nothing. We attempted to make a blade, and we got it ground down okay, and we thought we had good metal. But unfortunately, this material would not harden for us. And when we did harden it, it took a water harden rather than oil or air. Carbon steels may use either from time to time, and some have strong preferences for one or the other. Well, we didn't discover the magic formula for this one. However, we did take the broken blade, the tip of it, and attempt to make a box cutter with it. This we'll call an executive box cutter. It has some interesting features. For example, it rests on the table with a blade clear of the table. It has a rounded handle long enough that the CEO or the CXO or whatever O can take it and open the occasional box that he might have occasion to open. Most box cutters these days have razor blades and interchangeable blades of some sort on a much smaller handle. But for the guy who just needs to open an occasional box and want to do it with a degree of refinement and elegance, we have a executive box cutter for him. So that is the good that came from this. We didn't make the knife we want, but we did make a new design, although this particular steel and this particular blade is about worthless. It will not sharpen. Well, it will sharpen, but it feathers. The steel is just still too soft, even though we did put some temper back in it. This material was just not suitable to make knife blades from. Not all steels will work. Not all steels that contain carbon will work, as we found out here. So, guess what? We try again. But now, this is Hovey Smith, reminding you to hunt what you eat and eat what you hunt. Be legal, be ethical, be safe. Goodbye, God bless, and see you next time.
Here is a logo of my company and some of my Hovey's knives of China on it. And here are some others that we produce on a custom basis. The Billy Joe Rubidoux line is made of found steels, as is the case with the chef's knife, which we made from an old scythe blade, and we took that other piece of steel and we made a bread knife from it. Here is a forge cleaner that we made from the bottom part of an old lawnmower, and also a rib flipper from another part of that same lawnmower steel. We took an old hoe and made a grill cleaning tool from it that you see here with a nice stir fry. I will be offering the executive box cutter as a custom knife of very high grade for chief executives. Now on this knife I will use steel and wood that actually means something to him or her. For more information on Hovey's Knives of China, you can go to the blog below. For more information on my books, blogs, and more than 600 videos, you can go to my website, www.hoveysmith.com. Good hunting and good eating from the outdoors. Goodbye, and God bless.